episode of the Book Fix podcast, a podcast that saves lives one book at a time normally, but this time, one PowerPoint at a time. I'm your host, Yajaira.
And I'm your host, Cheli. Recently, Yajaira and I went to the movie theaters at the exact same time, the same day, but watched different movies with different people.
Yeah, we're still friends, I swear.
Yeah, we are. But we went to the theaters and watched two drastically different movies.
Literally different ends of the spectrum.
And if you haven't watched the episode before this one, go watch it because Yajaira just explained the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, I explained the entirety of Talk to Me, which if you haven't seen, I would definitely recommend you to watch that before you listen to our episode. But honestly, you do you. I won't judge.
Yeah, but to make things a little calmer.
And to make us less scared.
While Yajaira was watching Talk to Me, I did go with my friend Melissa to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. And this feels like such a change of pace.
I know.
So I'm a little, we like literally talked about toe sucking in the last episode.
Don't spoil it.
So sorry. So going from that to this is going to be a little weird.
No.
But this is
beautiful,
going to be,
actually.
this is going to be my TMNT Mutant Mayhem breakdown and review. I'm going to try to talk about this fully, so there will be spoilers, but I do want to say that there's really no, if you're into TMNT, there's no spoilers. This is like every TMNT movie show ever.
Oh,
so
you know TMNT.
Yeah. So I actually did want to talk about my credentials.
Oh, wow, that's cute.
So I have loved TMNT like way before 2012. But was avidly into it at 2012.
Okay.
Yajaira and I
can confirm that.
Yeah, Yajaira and I were already friends by that time. So I was super into TMNT.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was
like
there.
An
I was a
embarrassing
witness.
amount. But
No.
I have watched the 2012 TMNT. I have seen the Turtles Forever movie, which I think it was based on TMNT 2003. I have watched the Batman and TMNT crossover.
Love that.
I have seen the old VHS TMNTs, like the first movies. I have read The Last Ronin. You have too. And I have watched all of the Rise TMNT along with the TMNT movie that came out with it. So now Mutant Mayhem as well. I know my stuff.
She knows.
I know my stuff. And it's funny because I don't want to gatekeep. That's like my biggest thing. But I love TMNT a lot. And I do want to like, I want more people to like it. But I also want more people to know like just like how deep it goes, you know? So it matters a lot to me. I do want to mention that when Mutant Mayhem came out, I felt a certain way about it.
Oh, okay. How did you feel?
I did not want it to come out.
Why?
Because Rise of the TMNT was a show that came before Mutant Mayhem. And when Mutant Mayhem was confirmed and like they mentioned that it was going to come out, that is when they paused the series.
Oh, damn.
They were just kind of like, hey, you might not get a season 3, so do as much shit as you want. Just try to make it all fit. And they did that. They tried to put all of what they had planned for 7 seasons in one episode.
Oh my God.
And it was so sad because it was so good, but it was like, damn, you could tell they wanted to spend more time on this. And then they were given like a movie and they were like, yeah, you could do whatever you want, but you only get an hour and a half. So just make it fit. And so even the movie that they had made that was super long and detailed, they had to cut it short. And then all of a sudden they're like, by the way, there's something called Mutant Mayhem coming out.
Stay tuned.
So then the idea of this show coming back is just like, oh, it's gone now. And even like when, like, I think it was last week before Mutant Mayhem came out, they revealed that this movie was so good that they already confirmed a second movie and 2 seasons of a show. So Rise is not coming back.
How does that make you feel?
I'm a little sad. I mean, one of the writers of Rise had a Q&A a week ago. And he said that he doesn't consider the show over. He just considers it paused. Aww. So he really wants the show to be picked up again because he's written the next 7 seasons.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
So he's like, I really hope so, but I hope this doesn't take away from Mutant Mayhem because it deserves all the love it gets. So, yeah, those are my credentials.
She is qualified for this, okay? Don't think she's not.
Okay, so I want to talk about our turtles.
Okay. They look very cute.
They are all 15 years old, which honestly, when Seth Rogen said, you know, we focused on the mutant. We focused on the turtles. But have we ever focused on the teenage?
I mean, he made a point.
And,
Have we?
Like, he's right. He's right. And it's funny because in other series, there have been moments where one of the turtles has been 15. It's usually Mikey, who's the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time that we do focus on, like, their inner child.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do appreciate that. And all of the turtles were also voiced by children. So
Aww,
it's
really?
like, it's sweet. And it's funny because apparently when they were casted, none of them had hit puberty yet. But then when the movie came out, 3 of them did.
Oh, yeah.
So Donatello's voice actor has not hit puberty. So his voice the whole time is just baby.
Aww,
It's so
he's
fucking
a
sweet.
Baby.
So if you don't know the turtles.
But Mikey's still the youngest, no?
I don't think any of them have different ages. I think they're all just straight up 15.
Oh, okay.
So there's no youngest or oldest. I tried putting them in order by age, but I mean,
That doesn't matter.
it doesn't really matter. So we have our boy Leo. He's the leader in blue.
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing is because all of them just want to be normal teenagers.
Uh-huh.
His thing is he just wants a girlfriend.
Aww.
He like really wants a girlfriend. He wants to take her to prom. He wants to experience romance and being a teenager. And he also has a really big sense of justice. And it's like shown in the way he acts. Like they'll literally be going to the grocery store and he's like, guys, our biggest mission that's ever been given to us, party size Cool Ranch Doritos. Like, we need to go get this shit. So
that's so cute.
And I really like this Leo a lot because I really like it when TMNT shows a Leo that can be a leader, but then like on the side, he's just kind of like a dork.
Mm-hmm.
And he never lets those two cross. They're two very different things. So yeah, his justice and himself. And then we have Raph. He's supposed to be hot-headed. He's always kind of been like that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is an angry version of Raph. I just think he just loves to do things and he loves to be loud about it. Okay. So
he's an Aries. Love that.
He's an Aries. He just wants to go to high school. He just wants to be in a situation where people don't view him as a monster.
Okay.
That's his only thing. Mm-hmm. Then we have Donnie. He's usually the tech guy, but that's not really like pushed as much as it is in the other shows. Like he's not over here building a fucking car, but
he loves BTS though, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, so he's actually super internet savvy. So he knows his memes, he knows anime, he knows K-pop. He actually does know how to drive a car, but it's because he plays the car driving games. So he's just baby. He's baby. That's and cute. Then we have Mikey, supposedly, because never showed it in the movie, but he's just supposed to be chill, laid back. He does want to be a theater kid.
Oh, okay.
And he wants to be loved by everyone. I only say that because I don't think this movie did a good job showcasing all of them. You can tell that they really only focused on one turtle, and it was Leo. Okay. Which is not my favorite thing that they do.
Well, maybe there's going to be 3 other movies, and they'll take turns.
Well, there's going to be the other one in the series, so they're going to get a chance to. But these are our kings. These are our four boys. So let's go ahead and start with the story and go back in time a bit. 15 years prior.
Oh.
Okay, so this movie starts off with this man whose name is Baxter Stockman. Right here.
I've seen Monsters, Inc. I know what that is.
So Baxter Stockman is in a lab, and he's talking to this giant-ass fly, who I couldn't find a picture of. So this is just a clip art of a fly.
Cute.
And he's talking to this giant fly, and he's like, my son, my beautiful...
Mijo.
Oh, my boy. I love you so much. And what I've always wanted in life is to feel love. And, you know, I never find that with humans. I always find it with the animals I dissect on. And I hope one day, just like how I'm accepting you, my boy, I hope society accepts you. Because this is love. This is love. This is love by Super Junior.
I was thinking that.
So he's like, I hope you feel accepted by...
He's telling the fly this?
Yeah, the big fly.
Oh, okay.
Big ass fly, like baby-sized fly.
Oh, damn, that's a big ass fly.
Yeah, so because he's already mutated it, so it's huge.
Oh, okay.
So he's telling the fly, like, you're gonna have a beautiful life with you and your brothers and sisters. So we see like 6 test tubes that have these little animals in it. And while this is happening, There is also like a squad, like a team with guns that are coming to his lab, and they're just like, there's gonna be some messed up shit in there. We're gonna go in with this anti-mutagen, which is like to anti-mutate the mutants so they can go back to normal. So it's like shoot whatever needs to be shot, but also collect as much evidence as we can. So they go in there and completely like ransack the place, but the Fly reacts quickly and starts fighting everyone who's trying to hurt his dad.
Aww, his puppy.
But I guess the guys shoot at something that's explosive, and it ends up, I think Baxter Stockman dies because he falls over. And the Fly, at that moment of confusion, takes all of the test tubes and escapes through the window.
Okay.
But one of the test tubes that had the mutagen that mutated the Fly and all of his siblings, Baxter Stockman was holding it at the moment. But when he did fall to the floor, he let go of it, and it went down a pipe and into the sewers.
Oh, okay.
So this was 15 years before.
Okay.
Okay, so then it fast cuts. And 15 years later, it shows the turtles. And they are literally, this is like one of the first shots of them, which is a shot, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's a shot I really appreciate because they draw them like how they used to draw the old turtles. You remember how they all had that angry looking face? But you figure out that they're literally just teenagers. Like that moment that I told you about. Leo is over here saying like, we need to protect the city. We need to do what is right and what is expected of us. So let's go ahead and find, and he pulls a list, Go-Gurt. And he like starts listing everything that they need to find. And it's funny because his siblings are making fun of him. They're like, oh, Go-Gurt, Go-Gurt. You sound like you have fucking bronchitis, man. Like,
but also, let's go get some Go-Gurt, bitch.
So then they like start talking about like this grocery list that they have to do. And they list everything that they need. You see them go for groceries, and it's like you can tell that they've done this a million times, you know? And they get out of the grocery place. They have all the groceries, and Leo's like, yeah, we did really good today. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the lair where they live. And then Donnie's like, wait, but that only took us an hour. And honestly, Dad doesn't know how long it takes us. Like, it could take us technically...
tell him?
Yeah, it could take us technically 3 hours if you think about it. And then Leo's like, no, we can't keep doing this. Like, last week we went to a Knicks game. The other week before that, we went to the Adele concert. Like, we can't keep going to these things. That makes sense. And it's funny because all of them were like, oh, she was so transcending. Like, she was so great. But he's like, we can't keep doing this. And he's like, come on. The siblings are like, come on, there's an outdoor movie night happening here in New York. Might as well just go for a bit. And he's like, okay, fine, just for a bit. And they end up leaving. So you get to see the... Okay. Oops. So, you know what? I could show it. So they go to the movie night and they're playing Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Well, they're watching it and they're just looking because they're on a rooftop and you can see like teenagers hanging out and like there's people kind of like roughhousing and Raph's like, wow, to be that. Am I right? And then Leo's looking at two people hugging, like a couple hugging, and he's like, yeah, to be in love,
to feel some love.
They're just kind of like sad because they start to watch the movie and it's about like just like acceptance and everything like that. And Leo Donnie makes a comment like, do you ever think we'll experience that? And they don't really respond. And Leo's like, we should go. Yeah. And so then they start walking to a sewer. And when they're like halfway in, Leo looks at the screen and looks at the people. And he's just kind of thinking like, I can't ever have this.
Yeah.
So he goes in the sewer and they all go after him and they're just kind of walking dejectedly back to their home. So all the turtles want is to be accepted. Like that's their biggest thing. And they at this point will never experience it because of the thing that's holding them back.
Their dad?
So their dad, who is voiced
cow.
So their dad, who is voiced by Jackie Chan, which is so weird because now he's a canceled not king.
That's a different topic.
Yeah. So Splinter, who is their dad, is waiting in the lair in the dark, and you can hear like all 4 of the turtles with the groceries, and they're like, you gotta be quiet, okay, we can't wake up dad. And Mikey's like, it's okay, I'll just make quiet sounds. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Aww. Okay. And so then the lights turn on, and Splinter is like, where have you been? You guys said you were getting groceries, and all of a sudden you're here late. And they were like, no, we were getting groceries, it just took a little longer. It's like, really? It just took a little longer. And he looks at Leo. It just took a little longer? And Leo's like, they wanted to go watch a movie, and I tried to stop them, but I couldn't stop them. And, you know, this is the thing they did last time, and I really, really tried. And they just kind of just talked me into it, and I had to go watch over them. And everyone's like, Leo, like,
you
why
bitch.
the fuck
you
are you?
snitch.
Yeah. And so everyone gets mad. And it's funny because Mikey's like, you ratted us out. And Splinter's like, don't say that. And all the brothers are like, yeah, man, it's 2023. Like, don't be saying that shit.
That is so rude.
So then Splinter's like, I can't believe I have to do this to you guys, but sit down, because I'm going to tell you the story of why you guys can't go out. Like, why it's not allowed for you guys to go out and have a life. And so they all sit down.
Do they only go out? Wait, aren't they in school? I'm confused.
No, they're not in school.
Oh, they're not in school. They just see
they
the
see
kids
things.
and they want that.
Yes. And the only reason they go out is for necessities or at night if they're going to just kind of mess around. But they can never be around people.
Okay. How do people react seeing them?
No one's ever seen them.
Oh, okay.
Except for once, which is Splinter's story. Okay. So Splinter talks about his life, and he's like, back then in the heyday 15 years ago, I was the most loved rat. And it's him as like a fucking rat just eating trash. And he's like, just kidding. Everyone hated me. And it's like a dog barking at him, raccoons like messing with him, other rats not liking him. And he's like, yeah, I had one friend once. His name was Kevin. He was a little cockroach. And it's like a little fucking cockroach. And then it
disgusting.
It gets stepped on. And then he's like, that's when I lost Kevin. That's also when I fucking ate him. Anyway, like, he's just like, everything has always hated me, but the thing that hated me the most were humans. You know, so there's always been this animosity that I have towards humans. So he then, like, fast forwards, he's in the sewers and he sees 4 turtles, and he sees them like covered in ooze, like green ooze. But then he notices, like, at first he's kind of like trying to scare them away. Like, you can tell he's just like protecting in survival mode. But then he notices that they're all just babies.
They're children.
So he puts them in an egg carton and pulls the egg carton to like a different part of the sewer. And he looks at his hand and notices that it's covered in this ooze. And he's like, and whatever's in it, it turned us to what we were. I was an old rat, so I turned into an old rat. But you guys were babies, so you turned into babies, and this is what they all look like. Oh
my god.
So they all were just baby turtles, and he was like, what the heck? And he didn't really know what to do with it, but he was like, but at this point, you guys became my sons. So it shows him raising them, and he doesn't know. They're not ninjas yet. Like, he's just raising them as in, like, he feeds them pizza. He plays with them. There's a little scene where he, like, puts them all to bed and starts going to sleep, but then they all knock at his door. So they all sleep together.
I would cry. I would literally cry.
He talks about how much he loves his sons, but he's like, but you guys always had like an interest in the outside world. And so they're walking in the sewers, and there's like a grate, and they can see like the buildings of New York. So he was like, so I decided to take you guys because you wanted to see it. So he's holding all 4 of the turtles that look like this.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry watching this.
And he's like just spinning them around and letting them see the world. And they're the whole time in their like little baby voices, they're just like, whoa, wow. And they're all excited. And he accidentally bumps shoulders with a human. And the human's just like, oh, my mistake. And he's like, oh my God, it's a rat. It's a mutant. Oh my God. And everyone's like, no, it's just like an ugly Mickey Mouse. Oh my God, it's flesh. Like, he's real. And they're automatically turn violent and like try killing him.
Aww.
And he at this point drops all of the turtles. And so they're kind of all scrambling everywhere, and he sees Mikey rolling towards oncoming traffic. And he's over here like, I need to grab my son, but they keep like, you know, pushing him and like creating commotion. He runs over, grabs the 3 that are on the side and grabs Mikey and just covers them and is like in the street.
Aww.
And the car stops like right before it hits him, and he looks at all the boys and they're like very unaffected. They're just having the time of their life.
They're just like, this is the best day ever.
But then at that point he realizes like, I never want them to go through this. So he runs away and back into the sewers. And it's funny because he's like, I knew that if I wanted to protect you guys, I needed to learn the best ninjutsu that's out there to protect you.
Yeah.
And it cuts to a VHS tape called like Cheli's survival guide, like ninjutsu or whatever. And it's just him training and then the little turtles copying him.
Aww,
so, like,
that is so fucking cute.
Little by little, they all learn ninjutsu. And they became the ninjas that they are today. So it shows them like all grown up, like with their weapons. And then it cuts back to this scene where we see Splinter pointing at them. And he's like, and you see, that's why you guys can't go to the surface. Because you know what they're going to do when you get to the surface? They're going to judge you, they're going to kidnap you, and they're going to milk you. And that's like his biggest thing. And then Raph and like it's mostly Raph. He's just like, Dad, we don't even have nipples. Like, they can't milk us. So he's like, they're all disgusted because it's a thing he says a lot. I know, where would it be, Dad?
Where are my nipples?
So he's just like, you know what, guys? I don't want to have to do this, but you guys cannot go to the surface for a month. And they all get really sad. And Leo tries to like, because his brothers start to walk away and Leo tries to stop him. And all of them kind of tell him like a little remark, like, hope you're happy, Leo. Hope it was worth it. You know? They're back in their room and they're all quiet because they're all, you know, kind of mad. But then Mikey says, if you guys could go outside and be accepted by society, what would be the first thing you do? And Raph said, I would just go to high school. I just want to go to high school. And Donnie's like,
imagine wanting to go to high school.
I know. It's funny because people in that they meet later make that joke. Like, why would you want that? But Raph says that. Donnie was like, I would like to find my people. Like, people that are into the things I am into. And then Leo's like, I would want to have a girlfriend. Go to prom, you know? And Mikey...
Were they like, oh, you want a girlfriend?
and Mikey, I think his is just like, he just wants to be accepted. And after that conversation, they all get quiet. And because they were all on their phones, and they just like slowly start putting it away and just going to bed. Because it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know? So a month passes. And things change. Because after a month passes, they're playing on like a rooftop. And they're just like... playing with Leo's katana and just slicing watermelons and videotaping it. And Leo's like, really, is this how we want to spend our time after being gone for a month? And they're like, you know, Leo, shut the fuck up. How can you even talk to us being so far up Dad's butt? Like, how can you hear us from there?
Yeah.
And he's just like, you know what, whatever, guys, you do you. And then Raph is like, oh, we should get the watermelon and we should throw ninja stars at it.
Oh
like,
God.
we should see
Great
what
idea.
happens. So they get a ninja star and they make Mikey hold it, and Raph has his eyes closed and he's like, okay, let me see what I can do. And they throw it and you just hear someone scream in the background. And immediately, Leo, this is the scene. They all look like very not really interested, but Leo's like, what the heck was that? What was that? And you see April on the floor. Her scooter is like on the floor and she's pulling a ninja star out of her helmet. And then it just slows down and Leo is just like, oh my God.
Oh, girl.
Oh my God. And
the love of my life.
Yeah, his like mouth like falls open and there's like cutesy music playing. And then it immediately like cuts and April's like, what the hell? Who threw this? Like, who even has ninja stars? Was it you? And she's like pointing at them. You know, this is very unsafe. If I hadn't been wearing a helmet, and she's like telling them off, and they're all looking at her, and Donnie, Mikey, and Raph are kind of like, what is she mad about? Is it the ninja star thing?
I don't understand.
She's like really angry.
Damn.
Like and then they start seeing a guy come up behind April. And I was like, well, you know, she seems okay. Look, that guy's picking up her scooter. They're like, oh, and her bag. Oh, they're stealing her scooter and her bag. So then they like walk away, and then it's like quiet, and Raph is like, okay, so does like anyone want pizza, or like what are we doing? Okay, so yeah, so while all of them are kind of like okay with leaving her, Leo he kind of feeling her, dude.
Not that picture.
Did you like the one I made? It's Leo, responsibilities, and April.
Wait, that is creative. SIM card?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, please go to our YouTube channel. You need to see this.
I have the picture of Lin-Manuel Miranda biting his lip.
Oh,
I have the dog biting the sheets. Like, it's good.
A cat with a bunch of hearts around it. The SIM card.
Leo's a simp. And it's so funny how he keeps like bringing up like, oh, she's just so beautiful. We have to help this beautiful woman. And so they follow the people who have taken the scooter, and they end up like going into a warehouse and they shut it. So then Leo's like, okay, guys, this is the first time we have to use our ninja skills in battle. So we have to go in with all of our ninja stealth and everything. And Raph's like, loud? You want me to go in loud? I'll go in loud. And he like grabs his, I think he has toffs. I think that's what they're called. And he just rushes in. And when they go in the warehouse, they notice that it's not one guy. It's like 20 guys. And they're just kind of standing there like, oh,
never mind.
What do we do? And it's funny because while they're all standing there.
Wait, what's April doing?
April, it was chasing the people that took the scooter. So she's not there. So then when they walk in, everyone's like, what the fuck are those tortoises? Like, what the fuck are those things? And then it's like, yeah, it's the people that are on Times Square, right? The people that dress up. And the main guy's like, they kind of look like tiny Shreks to me. Like, they'd be looking a little weird. And so then Leo's like, we are going to get this beautiful woman's scooter back. You can't get away with this. And I don't know what happens, but one of them trips and then knocks Raph over. And Raph throws his, I don't remember what they're called, but his weapon. And it just stabs Donnie in the leg. And everyone's just watching this happen because Donnie's screaming. And Leo's like dry heaving, like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Yeah. And Donnie's like, get it the fuck out. It's like in my leg. And so then the guys are like, whatever, fuck it. Let's fight these things. And then they have this huge fight sequence. And you can tell the turtles know how to fight, but they've never fought in an actual battle. So they're making a lot of mistakes. There's this one scene that I think is really funny where where Donnie sticks his bow staff in a car where a guy was in because the guy was trying to ram them. And he puts it in and turns the wheel and it starts spinning around. Like the guy starts spinning around them. And Donnie's like, oh my God, he's Tokyo drifting us. You know? But they end up fighting and beating everyone. And they are so excited because this is the first time.
What happened to his tooth?
He just got it knocked out, I think. Actually, I think he's like that. He just built like that.
Oh,
okay. But they're all so excited, so happy that this is the first time they've seen like a success. And at this time, April comes in. She lifts the garage thing, and they immediately hide. And she's like, hello, a civilian without a weapon is coming in. I just came for my scooter. And she looks around and she's like, wow, these guys are busted. So she's looking around and she hears a noise. And you can see the eyes of the turtles behind the things they're hiding behind. And she's just looking and they're like, she can't see us. We're just going to stay here. She can't see us. And then she's like, I can hear you and obviously see you. And then they're like, oh my God, she could see us.
Oh my God, a girl.
And then Leo's like, Donnie, you approach her. You're the most likable person. Like you're the most approachable one. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I? And then she's like, you guys hiding makes me think that you're being sus. And then Donnie's like, she called us sus. She called us sus like that. That's bad. That's super, super bad. Yeah. And you guys talking right now? That's doubly sus. And then they push Leo forward. And he's just like, hey, we got your scooter back. You're
welcome.
Here you go. And April's like, whoa, you guys got this whole superhero outfit. And she starts like feeling Leo, like in your arm and your faces. They're so squishy.
And my God. Probably like hard eyes.
No, he's just kind of confused. And then she backs up and she's like, that is your flesh. That is, oh my God. What the fuck? And then Mikey's like, she's like, what are you guys? And Mikey's like, well, can we explain it over some pizza? And it's quiet. She's like,
I'm kind of hungry.
She's like, do you guys like pepperoni? And all 4 of them like, oh my God, that worked. Like, I did not think we were going to get this far.
Uh-huh.
So it cuts to a scene where they're all sitting on a rooftop with April. And they're just talking at her. And she has like a little notepad.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, our dad and then us and ooze and we're here and we're ninjas. And they're like all explaining at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay. So you guys were mutated by ooze 15 years ago. And you are living in the sewers as teenage karate chopping turtles. Like, is that what it is? And they're like, yeah, we prefer. No. It was like kid turtles that karate chop. And they're like, well, we prefer boys, you know. And then it goes to Leo, and he's like, actually, teenagers. We're, you know, a little more mature than that.
Yeah, we're not just boys.
And they're like, is there anyone else like you guys? And Mikey's like, no, I mean, sometimes we pretend we're on the Wendy Williams show, but it's really just us.
Oh my God, I love them.
And she's like, oh my God, this is a huge story. Like, if we told the world about you guys, this would be huge. Because you know how in like other iterations, April's always the journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a high schooler who writes for her paper, her school paper. But she's like, this would be huge because I've had no good stories, no good leads. I've been following this story about an enemy called the superfly. Because if you remember, 15 years ago, there was a fly that was also mutated.
Yeah, I remember him. He was big.
Yeah, but it's like, that, like, no one really knows who that is.
Uh-huh.
But you guys, that's amazing. Can I write about you guys? And Mikey's like, well, be honest with us. Are there people out there in the world that will accept us the way you accepted us? And she was like, no, no, not really. But if you think about it, the reason I accepted you guys was because you did a heroic deed. So what if you guys catch the superfly? And if you do a heroic deed and I document it and we bring it out to the public, people will like you and you'll be accepted. And they're all just kind of like, oh my God, that's a really good idea.
That's all I have to do.
I know. So then they kind of sit on it. She leaves. And it's funny because Donnie has his phone out because Splinter had just texted him like, why aren't you guys home? And while she's leaving, she's like, here, I'll airdrop my number to you. And she airdrops it to Donnie. Uh-huh. And then she just walks away. And Leo is like, can I have it? Can I kind of have that number though? And then he's like reaching out for the phone and they're like, no. And so while they're walking home to the lair, Donnie, Mikey, and Raph are talking about like, this is such a good idea. If you think about it, we're going to be superheroes. We're going to go to high school. People are going to want us to sign their babies.
Oh my God.
And so then they are like, yeah, we could do this, but Dad would get us in trouble. We just have to make sure that no one tells Dad. And they look at Leo. It's like, right? And he's like, you know what, guys? If we're going to make this work, I think we're going to have to team up with April because she knows all the intel and everything. And they're like, wait, are you serious? Like, you're not going to tell Dad? And he's like, no.
I would never tell Dad.
Of course not.
I would never let Dad get in the way of me getting a girl.
So then Leo calls April. And April answers. And it's funny because as soon as she's like, hey, who is this, the turtles, you know? And he's like, April, but his voice completely like cracks, you know, because he's nervous. And the other turtles are all like laughing at him. And he's just, I just wanted to let you know that we're in. We're going to do this. We're going to catch the superfly and catch everyone and whatever. And they're just kind of like, okay, this is going to work. Let's meet up tonight at 8 p.m. And he's like, okay, yeah. And we'll debrief and everything. And then it gets really quiet. And he's like, so is this like a date? Or is it? And then she's just like,
yeah, with all your brothers.
And she's like, what? And all the brothers are like, okay, bye. But was like, okay, bye.
Aww,
and then they hang up.
No experience.
They hang up, and it's funny because Leo just looks at his brothers. He's like, who doesn't have Riz? Who does not have Riz? Not me. I have a lot of Riz. You know, so it cuts off, and they're getting ready to leave, and the dad is like, oh, hi, boys. Like, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, we got to go. Just, you know, groceries and stuff. It's fine, Dad. Okay, bye, Dad. Bye. Love you. Kisses. And they leave. But while they're leaving, the dad's like, okay, but, you know, just make sure you don't get milked. Like, you know, be safe out there.
Yeah.
But they're kind of just, like, their relationship with their dad is...
They're getting distant.
Yeah, because they're doing so much. So they go through an entire sequence of fighting a bunch of bad guys that are like, oh, my name is Toupee Tom. No, you don't want me. You need to go talk to Normal Nate. Oh, my name's Normal Nate. No, you got to go talk to this person. And they're
okay,
like,
so they're kind of just
it's like a lot of sequences of them fighting. And they get to one guy who's like, Superfly wants me to do one more deal for him. and this is the last deal that he wants, and then I'm free out of whatever he's doing. I honestly don't care what he's doing, but there's going to be a deal tonight. And they're like, okay, we can go in a car and catch this man, because they don't know anything about Superfly. They just think it's a normal guy. Catch this man and stop him in the act. And then April's like, okay, then I'm going to be there and I'm going to videotape everything, and you guys just have to stop him. So when they're in the car, they see Superfly's cars come up. It's like 4 of them. And they're like, what is that? Like 10 men? Yeah, that's easy. They're going to be so shocked when they see 4 mutant turtles come out of this car.
Oh,
but
damn.
then they see this huge ass fly that's like buff, big.
Damn.
There's
6
like
packs on 6 packs.
a rhino. There's a warthog. There's like a cockroach. There's everything is behind him, and they're all like blasting like rap music and just bumping it.
Okay.
And then Superfly walks up to the car, and the turtles are like screaming. I don't remember like the sequence, like how it goes, but when he sees the turtles, he's like, damn, my people have 4 tortoises working? 4 little tortoises? That's crazy, man. I didn't know if other people had mutants. And he's like, this is perfect. Like, you guys, we've never met other people. Wait, let me guess. Did you get mutated 15 years ago? And they're like, yeah, we did. And it's like, oh, that was my dad's mutagen that he dropped down the sewer. That means we're cousins. And they're like, oh my God, I've never had family before. So he starts.
What's a cousin?
And he's super like sweet at this point. So he's like, here, let me introduce you to all my brothers and sisters. And he starts introducing them one by one. By the way, he's voiced by Ice Cube. He did a really good job.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. And then there's others. There's Seth Rogen voices one, John Cena, Paul Rudd. Like, there's like a lot of good names out here. He introduces all of them. And the turtles are like, oh my God, we love you guys, you know? But why? What are you building? Like, why are you doing all this? And he's like, well, let me take you to somewhere nicer, and we can talk about what we're building and why we're doing it. So they go to like the bowling alley, and they're all hanging out with each other, and they're all vibing.
Oh God!
And they sit down.
Is April there?
No, April's watching from a distance. Because remember, she's filming everything. Oh, okay. And she has like she gave Leo an earbud so they can talk to each other like that. So when they're walking into the bowling alley and hanging out, April's just kind of like, what's going on in there?
Is this part of the plan?
And Leo's like, you gotta wait because I have no idea what's going on. And so they all sit down and they ask Superfly, like, hey, we know you're super cool, we love you, but why are you stealing all of these parts? Like, what's going on? And he was like, well, when I was mutated, you know, I lost my dad because of people who like don't want mutants, or like basically. Yeah. So he was like, I didn't want to blame people at first. I mean, I took my brothers and sisters out of that situation, and we kind of just slummed it out. But we didn't think humans were all bad. I mean, we would see them on TV and they were great. So I thought it would be good for us to, you know, go into society. And when we did, we were like hated. People wanted to hurt us. And Mikey was like, that's crazy because that's what happened to our dad. That's the reason we hide in the sewers. And he was like, well, I didn't do that. The guy who tried like hurting me, I beat him up. Like, I beat him until he couldn't get up. And he slams the table that has the pizza. And the sauce just splatters on everyone. So it looks like blood on all their faces. And he was like, yeah. And I swore to myself that I would never want to feel like that again. So in order to be accepted, we need to get rid of all the humans. Yeah. So he's going to make this huge mutagen bomb. And it's going everything that's an animal. So a tick, a fly, any animal.
That's scary.
Is going to get mutated. And then they were like, well, what's going to happen to the humans? I was like, well, they're either going to die, or if we have any extras, we could do what they did to us. You see dog races? What if we have redhead races? You see, it was funny. One of them was like, you see, I don't remember what he said. Let's just say, you see horse races? What if we have big booty races?
Oh my God.
You know, so he's like talking about all this. And April on the other side is like, oh my God, that sounds really bad. And the turtles, like, they start walking out towards the cars because they need to go take the part to finish his experiment or whatever, the machine. And April is like kind of pressuring Leo and is like, if you're going to do something, you need to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like something needs to happen now. You can't just become an accomplice to whatever's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So then Leo's like, hey, man.
Are they scared?
Yeah, they're scared.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, hey, man, cousin.
Friend.
Let's just say hypothetically, I don't vibe with the whole killing all humans. What would you say to that? And he was like, well, I'd say you're not as cool as I thought you were. And he like crushes a fire hydrant with his foot.
Oh, God.
It's like, I'd say that you guys are just as bad as them. And he like gets very like
heated
in their face.
Mm-hmm.
And all the turtles are like, no. Actually, no.
I didn't say that.
I actually love killing humans. And it's funny because April's recording and she's like, I'll just cut that part out.
That's so funny.
And so then Donnie acts quick and he's like, here, why don't we help you? We'll drive the car that has the part in it because I know how to drive. Mm-hmm. And Superfly's like, okay, you could do that, but I'm going to give you 3 of my men that have to drive with you. Because, you know, yeah.
Okay, so he doesn't trust them.
His 3 men are in the front and they're in the back with the huge machine part. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because the 3 men they're driving with, one of them is Paul Rudd, and he plays Mondo Gecko, which is just like a gecko that skateboards. Mm-hmm. And he's over here like, bros, let's put on a song we can sing together. And he's like going through the radio stations. And then all 4 turtles are like, what the fuck do we do? What do we do? And it's like, we should get your bow staff, and while they're driving, because they don't have a windshield, let's just press the brakes. And so they're listening to that one song. Oh my gosh. It's a really famous song. It's the What's Up Blondes. And so I wake in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, and as soon as he presses it, all 3 of them go flying out. And they're all just at that part that's like, what's going on?
Oh, okay.
You know, so
that's cool.
This is the first fight that they have. So they try to escape with the part, but are immediately caught by Superfly, who just completely like beats them up. Aww. And it's funny because they are really lacking in this fight. Mm-hmm. And there's one scene where Donnie's like, help me. And he falls to the floor and you can see like Superfly just punching, and then you can hear Donnie, he's mollywopping me,
Oh my God.
And so then they get knocked off of the car and thrown just like to the floor off a bridge, and then all of these squad cars come, and they're the same squad cars that took over Baxter Stockman's lab that one day.
Oh, okay.
And Leo like is, because they just fell off a bridge out of a car, so they're all really hurt. Leo looks up and he sees April in her scooter, and he's just like, April, help us. And she just rides away.
She's like, no.
Nah. So she just rides away, and he's like looking at her while someone with a gun comes and hits him in the face, and they get knocked out. So, I didn't say it, but at the beginning, the person who's behind this squad, her name is Cynthia, and she has been tracking mutants. She just wants to build a mutant army so she can have like dolphins who can plant bombs on submarines, or snakes who can slither and spy and whatever. And she has like this whole thing that she wants to do. And the turtles are listening to her, and they're like, well, why would you kidnap us? Because they're all currently, have you seen that scene where they're singing the BTS song?
Oh, yeah.
They're all in that machine.
I just really want to see BTS.
I know. They're all in the machine that's holding them back. And she's like, I need to collect your guys' blood or whatever's in you in order to create, or like get the ooze that's in your system to create mutants. And they're like, no, you can't do that. And she's like, there's only one way to do it. And they're like, no, you can't do it. And then she's like, go ahead and milk them. And they're like, no, it's what Dad warned us about.
Oh, it came back.
So like you see the machine, because there's like transparent tubes, and you see the machine turn on where Mikey is, and the tubes start to get filled with his like green ooze. And he's like, they're milking me. And they're like, how does it feel, Mikey? Not good. They're milking me. So they're like experiencing, this pain and stuff. And it's one by one. So then they go to Raph next, and that's when Donnie's like, I just want to see BTS IRL. And that's why they try singing it for him.
Aww.
But
that's
then
so cute.
It cuts to another scene, And you see Splinter, who's at home, and he's just kind of like sitting, and he hears noise, and he's like, oh my gosh, boys, you're back, you're back. And he sees April. And April's like, I'm so sorry. You don't know who I am, but your sons are in trouble and they need you.
Oh, so she helped them.
So she helped them. So we go back to where the boys are at. Okay, so we see this huge fight sequence where Splinter just fights all of these, like, armed guards.
Damn.
And I don't know if it's true, but someone pointed out that his whole fight sequence was, like, mementos or an homage to, like, Jackie Chan's fighting.
Oh, really?
So it showed, like, a lot of things that he's done in his movies.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
If, you know,
he didn't suck so much.
He didn't suck as a father. Like a real father.
A real father. Splinter doesn't suck.
That's another topic, though.
But Splinter does this. He fights everyone. His boys are cheering him on and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he has all 4 of their weapons. So he's using all the 4 weapons, too. Mm-hmm. And he goes up to his boys and he's like, oh, my gosh, my boys, my boys. And he, like, starts unlocking them and everything. And he's like, what happened here? What happened? And they're like, I mean, I don't know. Well, what's the machine? I don't know, Dad. And he looks at the title, like they have a label on the bottom. He's like, is this a milking machine? I told you guys, first thing humans are gonna do is milk you.
I tried to warn you and you didn't listen.
I know. And so then they're like, we need to get out of here, and you know, we need to fix whatever you've done. But April, you're sweet, you're kind, but this is it. You're not gonna see my boys anymore. After we're done with this, we're going to cut this off. Mm-hmm. And so they do that. They cut it off. And so we get the second part of the fight. So,
oh my God.
So the Turtles and Splinter go to the lair where they're building this machine. Mm-hmm. And when they break in, Superfly is basically like, you can't stop it. We're basically already done. And there's nothing you can do. And Leo turns to everyone else, the brothers and the sisters, and they're like, guys, we vibed.
Yeah.
Like, we hung out and we vibed. And I know you guys don't really want to murder everyone.
Not really.
Like, you guys can just be like, with us. And Paul Rudd's character, this Mondo Gecko, he's like, but we just want to be accepted. And Mikey's like, we accept you. Mm-hmm. You guys can just come live with us. And Splinter's like, yeah, we have enough room. All of you can come live with us. And then one of them's like, you know what? I kind of don't like the idea of murder because I don't want to be haunted by the guilt of my past. So not murdering actually sounds really chill.
Actually, I think I prefer that.
So then all of them are on board. Like, yeah, let's just stop this idea. But Superfly is like, no, we have worked too hard for this.
He's like, whoa, back up.
Yeah, we need to do this. There's no way other people will accept us. And so there's this huge fight. Everyone is fighting against Superfly. And there's a moment where Superfly is like being pushed against the wall. And he's like, I hate humans. I hate them. Like you. And he points at Splinter. He's like, we're not so different. Like you are keeping them away from humans just like I'm keeping everyone away from humans. So why don't you agree with me? And Splinter kind of just looks at him like, oh man, we're not that different.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
they all push Superfly and the machine into the water. Mm-hmm. And then the fight is over. But the water starts glowing green. Mm-hmm. And then Mondo is the one who's like, okay, guys, really quick question. Sorry if it's dumb. If we were to push a mutant along with more mutagen into a body of water that has animals in it, what happens?
He's like, let me do the math real quick.
So then everything starts shaking. And you see Superfly come up as a whale. Like he has parts of like sea animals connected to him.
Oh, damn.
And goes on to like land. And they're like, that's not that bad. But then he lands in a zoo and just everything connects to him. And he becomes a giant mutant with hundreds of other animals connected to him.
Oh my God, gross.
And he calls himself Super Duper Fly. And
okay,
he's
cute.
Just like, thanks, turtles. And he just flies away towards New York.
I knew I loved you guys.
So he starts fucking shit up. Mm-hmm. And the turtles and all the other mutants out in the open go into the fight. And they're like, we need to stop him. We have this. Oh, and they call April. And they're like, April, you could probably see what's going on, but we need your help. Do you know how to stop him? And they're like, actually, when you guys left, the the building we were in, I found this thing, and it's the anti-mutagen gun. So she's like, I could take this to you guys, and we can shoot him maybe, and he'll go back to normal. So they crash into April.
He'll be a regular fly?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So they crash into April, and they give Raph the mutagen gun, and he points it at Superfly and shoots and barely gets his leg. And Superfly starts to be like, whoa, something's happening. But he had only shot one animal. So one little caballito, one little horse falls off. And Superfly's like, nah, I don't need it. One horse, I don't need it. So then...
It's like, I got a whale on me.
So then, in the perspective of the news and the people seeing this, while they're in Times Square, the turtles look up and they start to see news reporters saying, like, these 4 turtles, monsters, are creating havoc. We need to kill these mutants. We need to do this. We need to do that. And they're, like, basically tearing them down. And Mikey looks and he's like, this is the opposite of what we wanted. Like, no one loves us anymore.
That feels so, like, heartbreaking.
Yeah. So then Leo kind of goes like, we did this for the wrong reasons. Like, it doesn't matter in the end of the day if anyone likes us at all. We should be doing this because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And he, like, starts looking at everyone. And he's like, Mikey, you're spontaneous. You react quickly. You improvise. We need that right now. Like, you can help us. Donnie, you've seen the most anime with big enemies. You should know how to handle this. And then Raph, you know how to act loud, and we need that right now. And so then Donnie's like, oh my God, Attack on Titan. There's these huge titans, and they have one weak spot, and it's on their neck. And then they look up at, like, the news reporters filming Superfly, and he has the blowhole, because remember he's still a whale, on his neck. And they're like, if we get this mutagen gun and if we shoot it down his blowhole, it'll go into his bloodstream and he'll completely, like, disintegrate, basically. And so then Raph turns over, like, a car, and they get into this car, and they're, like, speeding towards Superfly because they're going to fight him. And meanwhile, all the other mutants and Splinter are also trying to get to, like, the boys because they know that they have a plan now. And April, who was with them but is not really running towards the fight, she's, like, looking at the news reports too, and she's like, I can't have this happen. So she goes into a building, where the news channel building, and she runs in there while everyone's running away, and she sits down in front of the cameras, and she's like, I need to explain something to you. My name's April O'Neil, and I know all of these mutants. I made this. Aww. And I know all of these mutants.
That's so
like,
cute.
Like, they are good people who are trying to help us. They are not evil. Like, you need to trust them. And if you guys see them out there, we need to help them. So then the fight gets really intense, and it looks like they're losing. I mean, there's a point where Superfly is holding all of them because he has, like, a crab arm now, and he's holding the turtles, and he's like, I could just crack all of you. Honestly,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Like,
you guys are cousins.
The mutagen gun that Raph was holding, he let go of it and it fell, so it's really far away. And Splinter is, like, running to go get it, but he's super wounded, like, he can't get up. So he's, like, trying to grab this thing and looking up and seeing his boys die. Like, he's, like, looking at both things, and he's, like, looking back and forth, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's, like, hyperventilating. And then he sees a human approach him the same way that a human approached him back when he had first gone, like, on the surface. So he starts freaking out. He's like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me, they're gonna do this. But then the person reaches out and he's like, you need a hand? Like, do you need some help? And they help him up, and then people start approaching him. It's like, you're with the turtles, right? Because they had heard what April said. It's like, what can we do to help you? Do you need to go to the doctor? Do you need to go to a vet? Like, what
do you need?
What can I do? And he was like, I need to get this thing to my boys that are up there. And they're like, no problem, put it in this bag. And they all, like, the humans start running it towards the turtles.
That's so sweet.
And it eventually gets to the turtles, and there's a huge fight sequence. Go watch it. And the turtles end up throwing it down the blowhole. And there's, like, a huge explosion, and all these animals that were a part of him just all start kind of running away. And so then after the huge fight is over, they're all just kind of standing there. And then they start hearing like a loud applause, and they're standing in the middle, and everyone's cheering for them.
Aww.
And they're like, isn't this what we wanted? This is great. This is amazing. And they're all smiling and happy and laughing. And in the end of the movie, you basically see them living with the other mutants in their home. And they're all running around, and Splinter and another one of the mutants is preparing lunch for them and putting it in sacks. And they end up going to high school for the first time.
Oh my god, they're teenagers.
And that's how the movie ends.
That's good. Can't wait to watch it.
It's really cute. There's a little scene after the credits to show like where they all ended up. And there's one where like Donnie's TikToking and he's like, I met my people. And he pointed towards 4 like people who are all just on their computers.
Aww, so he's like, finally.
People. Raph joined wrestling. Mikey joined the improv comedy class. And then Leo stuck with April, and they have their own little journalism video blog.
That's cute. Is he still in love with her?
Yes, he is.
Aww.
It's cute because after they're like filming an episode, and they're like, yeah, tune in next time when we find this. And he turns off the camera, and he's just like, so, April, prom is coming up, you know?
Got a date or what?
And it's really cute because her whole thing is when she gets nervous, she gets nauseous. And after he like starts kind of stuttering, she's like, yeah, I'll go to prom with you. I needed to save you because you look like you were ready to throw up.
Aww.
And he was like, yeah, I was about to, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And so they're all kind of like happy ending. And you just get to see them like vibing. But then it goes back to Cynthia, the lady that I had talked about before, who was in charge of that organization. They have a jar, and it just has a regular fly in there. And they're just kind of like, we need to figure out what to do because we have no leads or anything, but we know where the turtles are because they're going to high school. We need to contact someone who can help us. We need to contact the Shredder, which is like the main enemy. So that's where it ends. But good points about this movie. I thought this movie was very, very solid. To the point, it was an easy story to follow because it is based on children, for children. I love the art style. It was drawn very gross, but I think it was like that on purpose. Like, it's just, it's a fun art style to look at. I didn't mind it. It was true to the turtles. I think their personalities really matched how they're supposed to be in all iterations. And I like how all of the voice actors, were appropriately aged. I don't want to hear a 40-year-old voicing a teenager.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cute, though. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, so I really liked it. Some not so good points.
Okay.
So I didn't know how to write this first one, but all of the jokes in this show or in this movie are very modern. Like the whole part where Donnie's on the floor and he's like, he's mollywopping me.
Yeah, or the Riz.
In 5 years, this is not going to make sense.
Yeah.
So although I really enjoyed it and I enjoyed the jokes, I don't think it's going to age well, which sucks because it's a good movie. This isn't really a bad point for me, but it's a bad point for some people. If you watch this movie and look at the mouths of all of the turtles, they never match with the voice actors, meaning the voice actors did not do a good job syncing up to the turtles. I just think personally, by the way it sounded, it seemed like all of them were voice acting in one room together, but they were really good at making it sound like they were bickering. But they're also young, so it's like they don't really know how to voice act, but whatever. Master Splinter's backstory, I hate that he was a rat at the beginning.
He's a rat.
No, he becomes a rat. In other iterations, he's supposed to be a man who becomes a rat, not a rat who became a bigger rat. So, like...
I feel like that doesn't make sense, though. I actually didn't know his backstory.
So, like, he's supposed to be a man who had a nemesis named the Shredder. And that's how they're supposed to know each other.
Oh, okay.
So there are iterations where he is a rat to begin with, and then it's just a rat
big
forever.
rat.
But I don't really like those because they're not as like impactful. But whatever, that's not really the biggest point. And I thought they didn't really do a good job fleshing out Mikey or Raph. Those were like the turtles that were kind of in the background, didn't really do much, and that makes me sad because I really like Mikey. But you know, whatever. Overall, I would give this a 4.75 out of 5.
Wow, that's still really high.
I feel like you don't need to know anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to go watch this movie. Mm-hmm. You could just go watch it and it'll be good. Crazy. And then you can catch up.
And then you can watch everything else that Cheli mentioned.
I think it's a great way to introduce people to the Turtles, and I would watch again. And I am excited for the series.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch the movie.
I'm excited for you. I hope I didn't. I spoiled the whole thing, so I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I won't remember anything tomorrow.
Dude, I fucking loved this movie so much. Thank you so much for sitting with me.
Oh, of course.
I hope
Thank
you
you for telling me everything. I'm so excited.
I hope you liked my PowerPoint.
I loved your PowerPoint. That's what I was going to say.
I made this shit. Did you see that?
Yeah, so there's a part where they're babies, and then there's like a news thing that says breaking news, not evil, just baby, and then a small font that says that big fly mollywop, the purple one too.
Thank you. I worked so hard on this one. I was like
so
cracking
cute.
up. This was my favorite one, and that one.
That one's good.
The Leo one where it's just simps.
It's good. You did a really good job.
Thank you, dude. I thought.
Please go watch our YouTube version of this so you can see the PowerPoints.
Yes. We should also post these PowerPoints somewhere. Probably on TikTok, because you could do the pages.
Oh, yeah, huh?
The page swipes. Oh my gosh, that's a good idea, actually.
That's a good idea. Write that down. Don't forget.
But thank you for listening. If you were listening to us in audio form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get your podcasts on, if you can please leave a rating of 5 stars.
That would be so awesome. Yeah. Because if we get more 5 stars, we'll be recommended more.
Yes, and that makes a huge difference. If you could also leave reviews, tell us what you thought, tell us what you want to see us do next time if you like this format. Something we can pick up maybe
as like bonuses, because we really can't use this as like our tier list. You know?
We can't,
or our wrap up.
If you also want to tell your friends, family, loved ones, anyone about us, that really helps, because the best type of exposure is through word of mouth. If you have like an extra $5, what is something they can do?
So we did start a Patreon, and through our Patreon, it's really like the perfect way to let us know that you really enjoy our content. You can find us on patreon.com/bookfix.
Thank you. If you are watching us on YouTube, I think this is an episode you have to watch on YouTube.
You have to.
Thank you so much. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we do post every Tuesday and Thursday. If you want to support us on our social media, we do have an Instagram and Threads under @thebookfixpod, THEBOOKFIXPOD. We also have a TikTok that we're pretty active on @thebookfix, THEBOOKFIX. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was a very fun episode to film.
Yeah, it really was.
And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, I feel like I ran a mile.
You really did. I already told my boyfriend, I was like, we're definitely going to watch this movie, so get ready.
I know.
I think we're going to do it tomorrow.
Really? Oh my God, tell me what he thinks.
I think you'll like it, probably.